Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Yashodana Yamuna Thiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Yamuna Thiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Haribol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, welcome dear devotees. We're reading today from Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 10, verse number 18. You can see the verse there, and if you need further, you can just log on to database and you can open it up on your phone as well if you don't have a Bhagavad Gita with you. Or you can just listen. Okay. Oh, it's wrong. Okay, yeah, so I think it would be useful if all of you open up on your mobile phone. You have it? Or you get a Bhagavad Gita book. Yeah. Is it? Okay. Chapter 10, verse number 18. Okay. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kathaya triptirhe srinvato nasti me mritam. Vistarena, in detail, atmanaha, yogam, mystic power, vibhutim, opulences, cha, also, janardana, O killer of all atheists, bhuyaha, again, kathaya, describe, tripti, satisfaction, he, certainly, srinvataha, hearing, na asti, there is not, me, my, and amritam, nectar. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Janardana, the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Purport. A similar statement was made to Sutta Goswami by the rishis of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka. The statement is, Vayam tu na vitripyama uttama shloka vikrame yakshinvatam rajagyanam swado pade pade. So the translation is, one can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad-Bhagavatam 1.1.19. Thus, Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna, and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam, nectar, is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with the references to the pastimes of the incarnations of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh, despite repeated hearings. So that was the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Homa Yajna timirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatistarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so let's dive into the verse. So what do we understand from this verse? Here, Arjuna is saying something to Krishna. What is Arjuna saying? We can roughly divide, this verse into a few topics of discussions. For example, taking a look at the verse itself, Arjuna starts questioning, questioning Krishna to asking a favor from him again. Arjuna is asking Krishna to please give me a description. Please tell me what are the opulences, what are your powers. Arjuna is asking Krishna, how are you so powerful? What do you have? What are your opulences? That's what Arjuna is asking Krishna. So Arjuna is asking in a way that befits a very hungry student, a very hungry, inquisitive student. What does he do? He goes up to his professor and he asks questions after questions. That's what Arjuna is doing. He's displaying characteristics of a very, very top-class student. And he's asking questions, and this is out of curiosity. It's not really out of curiosity in a sense, because Arjuna has already he has an understanding of Krishna and his position as the Godhead. So what does Arjuna ask here? So Krishna, we need to understand the context of this verse. So the context is that, in the previous verses up till here, Krishna has already established himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has already explained that he's the source of all material worlds. He's the source of all the worlds in this universe. All material worlds, all spiritual worlds, everything. He's the source, he's the one source of everything. So he's already explained that, and the next thing, Krishna has already explained that he's in the hearts of every living entity. So these two things Krishna has already explained. So this is the context here. And then Arjuna accepted Krishna's divinity. Arjuna accepted Param Brahma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shasvatam Divyam. Arjuna has accepted that Krishna, you are the true personality of Godhead. He is accepted now after knowing about the glories of Krishna. So this is the important context that we must understand. And now that we know the context of the setting of the story, now we understand the context, we can now dive in what truly Arjuna is asking from Krishna. What does Arjuna really ask? What's the deep meaning behind this question that Arjuna is asking? So there are different layers, so we can just break this verse down into 3 layers. The first layer is the starting word of the verse, which is Vistarena. That's how the shloka starts. So the first shloka is Vistarena. It means detail, in a slow, detailed manner. Arjuna is asking, do not rush, because Arjuna is asking, tell me about your opulences. So tell me in a very, very slow, detailed manner. Tell me everything. That's what Arjuna is asking. So, first of all, and then second of all, the next thing is Triptir he shrunvata nasti. That's what Arjuna says. He says, I am never satisfied. So in the first word, Arjuna is saying Vistarena, which is in a very detailed manner. And then he says, Shrunvati nasti tripti. It means I'm never satisfied. So he's also giving a reason why he is asking in a detailed manner, because he's never satisfied from hearing the glories of Krishna. He wants to hear more and more and more detail. And that's what Arjuna says here. He's hinting out to Krishna, please describe me in a very detailed manner, because I am never satisfied. That's the first layer. Now, the second thought process here is a very key word, which is amritam. So we see at the verse, Vistarenatma yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kathaya triptirhe shrunvato nasti memritam. So the key word here is amritam. What does amrita mean? Nectar. So what is the nectar here? So Arjuna is asking Krishna to describe his opulences. Why? Because he's never satisfied from hearing. He has been hearing all this time. And again, he's not satisfied. He wants to hear more and more. Why? Because hearing about Krishna is Amrita, is the real nectar. That's how we understand. That's how we understand from chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna. It is the real nectar. When we chant Hare Krishna, we relish this nectar. It is very evident because when we all of have had some experience of chanting in a very pure manner and in a very proper conscious chanting, we relish the chanting. We feel nice because it is full of nectar, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or Krishna's pastimes, or hearing about Krishna. So now that we've understood the setting and the meaning and what is Arjuna trying to ask to Krishna, what is truly, the deep meaning behind Arjuna's questioning. So now that we've understood that, let's dive more into Srila Prabhupada's purport here. What does Srila Prabhupada say? So Prabhupada says that Krishna is not exhaustible, so even Krishna himself cannot fully enumerate his own opulences because Krishna is unlimited, because this idea, that God can be understood with our tiny little brains and our tiny little, devices and everything, it's totally out of question because God cannot be understood by our intellect. He's just unimaginable. We cannot grasp. How can we not grasp? Because we can just simply understand this mathematically. We all know from mathematics that the concept of infinity. So anything divided by zero is infinity. It's infinite. It's never ending. So this idea of infinity is what leads us to God, in a sense that God is the one who is truly infinite, because everything in this world is emanating from God, and everything, everyone, He's inside everything. So that's how we understand. We cannot fully understand, but still we try to understand. We try to grasp this meaning that the infinity is God Himself, and then this is how we understand the one opulence of God, which is He's infinite. It's never ending. And we cannot grasp something as very deep and very resourceful as infinity in our tiny little brains. Our brains will explode out of computational risk. Yes, if you try to divide a number by zero, what does your computer do? It crashes because you cannot divide a number by zero. That's how we understand this infinity is never reachable, and that's how God is. He cannot be summarized. He cannot be memorized. He cannot be, fitted into this tiny little brain. All we can do is have devotion. This is how we truly understand Krishna. Through devotion, not by theoretical understanding, not by knowledge, not by any kind of modern prowess. It's just by pure love and devotion. This is what we understand here. And so hearing is an act of bhakti. It's not like a data collection. Hearing is like a pure act of bhakti. So Arjuna is not asking, who are you or what are you? He's not plainly asking that. Arjuna has a different tone. What is Arjuna's tone? He's asking, please allow me to hear you more. That's what is the mood of Arjuna. He's not asking Krishna, tell me who you are. Okay, you tell me you are the God, and I see that you're telling me so many different things. So tell me who you are. No, that's not the position of Arjuna, and that's not the mood of Arjuna. Arjuna's mood is very humble, so down to earth, because he's realized God Himself is in front of him. So he's asking, please allow me to hear more about you. So hearing is a relationship. It's like a pure relationship. It's a purification process, and it is a direct connection to Krishna. When we hear about Krishna, we're having a direct connection to Krishna. And knowledge in bhakti is experiential, because Prabhupada, he repeatedly contrasts in the purport. We can see that there is a difference between dry speculation and revealed knowledge. So what is the revealed knowledge? Revealed knowledge is the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. These are revealed. They're revealed knowledge. They're scriptures. And in contrast to dry speculation, which is done in our mundane minds, with our mundane thinking, with our limited amounts of knowledge. And so there's a difference. And the main difference here is that one is like a mental effort. We're mentally, doing this effort to try to understand that there's something which is nothing to be understandable. Like, for example, we're trying to achieve infinity, but we cannot never achieve infinity, because infinity literally means never ending. We can always try to run after infinity, but it will never end. So we'll be running and running and running forever. How out of world it sounds, this concept of infinity. So this is how we understand we cannot attain or understand Krishna through a mental concoction or a mental effort. We can only understand him by submission. And this is what Arjuna does here. Arjuna is not asking Krishna in a theoretical way that, he's some kind of a very knowledgeable person. He's not saying, "Who are you?" in a very direct manner. He's first of all submitting, he's surrendering, and he's asking in a very humble tone, "Please allow me to hear more and more about you, because I'm never satisfied." That's what Arjuna says in this verse. Yaduttama shloka vikrame. Yeah, this is what Arjuna says. So the deep insight here is, why does this question matter? What is the question again? Can anybody say? We've been 20 minutes into the lecture. What's the question here? What's the question by Arjuna? What did Arjuna ask just now? Please tell me more about you. Please describe me your opulences. Tell me more. Please kindly tell me more. That's what Arjuna is asking. To tell him more and more. And why is he asking? Because he is never satisfied just by hearing once. He wants to hear more, more, more and more. So why does unlimited knowledge not overwhelm Arjuna? Because the knower is personal. In material learning, more information means fragmentation. More complexity means anxiety. That's the thing. In modern knowledge, if you take more and more information, your brains will explode. That's. I can give like a personal example, because I'm in the university. I'm studying my bachelor's right now, and some of the things I study, especially those hardcore mathematics, it's so overwhelming at times. It's like you're trying to process all of this knowledge all at once, and your brain feels like exploding because it's too much of knowledge to take into yourself. So we can understand this is the difference between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, because spiritual knowledge, even though how deep and complex it may be, it is never a complexity for your mind. It is always blissful. That's what we understand. Very, very high qualified, like very high quality knowledge, or very topmost knowledge to understand in this Vedic scripture is this knowledge about the soul, or this knowledge about how your body or your mind works, or the knowledge about the structure of the universe explained in the Bhagavatam is so complex. But at the same time, if we surrender and try to hear from utter humility, it won't be complex anymore, because then we can truly understand what the lecture, what the purport is trying to say, what Bhagavatam is trying to say. So this is the difference we see between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. And so the correlation here, we try to, if we try to practically understand this concept here, is that, the limits of computational knowledge. For example, if we try to understand any material knowledge, it's all based on computation and theories. So we can process, process some big amounts of knowledge. We can understand some patterns. We can simulate. We can, there's so many kinds of thought processes. But we cannot truly experience the meaning, because our brains are limited. Our reasoning power is limited, because we're at the end of the day we are humans. But there is no such limitation with Krishna, because Krishna is not defined by these characteristics that we are, because he is the supreme God, because there is no such rule which binds Krishna, those rules that bind us humans. And we can also understand what Srila Prabhupada here says about scriptures, is that, so Prabhupada is also saying this, he's repeatedly, quoted this verse called Punat Punascharvita Charvananam. It means chewing the chewed. It's like you're chewing, for example, a sugarcane stick. You're chewing the sugarcane stick, and you've chewed up everything, and there's no more juice in the thing that remains in your mouth, so you throw it away. And later, what do? You take the thing that you just threw, that had no juice left, you take it again and you again chew it, knowing that there is no juice left anymore. So that's the thing we're doing in this material world. So this is an idiom. So this is what we are understanding. This is what we're doing. We're chewing the already chewed and thrown thing. Puna puna charvita charvananam. That's the Sanskrit phrase. So it's from Srimad-Bhagavatam. It is actually given by Prahlad Maharaj, whom we worship every day. Prahlad Maharaj is the greatest devotee of the Lord. That's what he says. What we're doing in this material world is we're chewing the already chewed and thrown things. And what do we understand from here is that Prabhupada applies this to material life, that we're trying to extract happiness. We're trying to extract happiness from this same sensory, bodily, organs and everything, and like eating, mating, sleeping, defending, repeatedly, birth after birth, birth after birth. The form changes. We change lives. We change bodies. But this same tendency to eating, mating, sleeping, defending, it never goes away, because these are the qualities of a conditioned material being. These are the qualities that you're always engaged in, these useless activities. We have been doing this for thousands, millions of lifetimes, and we're still doing this today, not realizing the value of this human life. So the repetition about newness is the cause of the existential nausea. So here the main word, if you heard properly, was the word satiation. So if we try to understand what the word satiation means, it means existential crisis, basically. So let's dive more deep into this. So Arjuna is saying he's never satiated. He's never satisfied. Why is he never satisfied? Why? Why is Arjuna never satisfied? Because, yes, Brian Prabhu?
Because hearing the opulences of the Lord gives him a lot of pleasure. So
exactly. So it's full of bliss. Hearing about Krishna, remembering him, chanting him, it is so full of bliss that he is never satisfied. We were doing kirtan. We do kirtan every day, and we'll do kirtan for the rest of our lives because it's so blissful. It's because it is so blissful that we are never satisfied. We need to do it every day, every hour. That's what we need to do because it is so blissful. So we are never satisfied. And so is Arjuna here. That's what he's saying. I need to hear more about you. Tell me more about your opulence because I'm never satisfied from hearing just once. I need to hear them every day, more and more. So that's what Arjuna's request is. And that should our request be to Krishna as well. We should learn from great devotees like Arjuna and request Krishna, oh dear Krishna, please have mercy upon us and give us this this opportunity to hear more about you, to chant your holy names. So, and again, we come back to the verse and we try to understand the theological contrast here is that the contrast between material life and spiritual life. So we see that the material life, there is boredom. We're bored so easily. We cannot do the same thing again and again. For example, you played a video game and you're just bored now. You need another video game. Or for example, you watched a movie and you're bored now. You cannot watch the same movie again and again. You can maybe watch 5 times, 10 times, but you cannot keep watching it for the rest of your lives. Or you cannot keep watching it every day because at one point in time, you will be bored. There is a saying that if you chew like sugar cubes or just sugar, if you start having sugar every time, every single hour, that at one point in time, even the same sugar will start to feel sour or bitter. Can you believe it? Can you believe taking a tablespoon of sugar and it be bitter? That's what happens if you take sugar too much. People who have very high level of insulin lowers, like diabetes, they cannot have sugar. They have this thing, or people in jaundice, I believe, they cannot experience proper sweetness anymore. So those conditions are like that. This material world is like that. There is nothing in this world that can give us a way out of boredom. We are destined to be bored by the things in this material world because they're temporary. But what is not boring is the spiritual practices, like chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, doing kirtan, doing japa, reading, hearing about Krishna, taking darshan of the Lord. We look at Nrsingadev every single day, and every single day he is as mesmerizing as the first day. Isn't it, Paul? You've been here quite a long time now, a few weeks, and what's your experience? You have seen Nrsingadev from the first day, and you're seeing every day, and every day it's a different new experience, right? So we're hearing from a live practical example here. So this is what we understand from Krishna consciousness, that's never old. It's ever fresh. It's the only thing in this world that's ever fresh. We will never get bored from being with Krishna. So this is what is true nectar. So we again come back to the verse, and we again come back to the key word in this verse, which is nectar, amritam. That's what Arjuna is saying. You please tell me about your opulences. Tell me about you. Give me your knowledge because I'm unsatisfied. Because I'm unsatisfied, I need to have your association. I need to have this knowledge about you. I'm eager because that is the real nectar. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a young man, I'm a student, and I sometimes like so many other things. Like I like playing sometimes a few games with my friends here and there, having fun. That's all okay. It's all material. We're part of this material world, being in Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, I understand that these things, they are temporary. They give you satisfaction and relief for a few hours. And after some time, for example, like we play football with our friends, and we play football for a few hours. We enjoy a lot. But after a few hours, what happens? Our limbs started to crumble because now we're tired. Our muscles start paining. So this happiness, this satisfaction is just for a few mere hours. It doesn't keep you happy for the whole day, not even for the whole day. So these things, they're all temporary. So when we're here, we try to take care of our body. We try to engage in things that makes us happy for a short amount of time, like playing sports. But at the same time, we need to be Krishna conscious at the same time. We need to understand that these things are not there permanently. And the only thing that's there permanently is Krishna, is hearing about Krishna, is chanting, is doing kirtan. That's what the thing is, which is not boring, which will never bore us. We can keep chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra hours and hours because it is full of nectar. For example, if I tell you to chant Coca-Cola 1,000 times, will you be able to do it? You can maybe try Coca-Cola, 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 but after like 100 repetitions, you're like, oh, you want to bang your head somewhere because it's like so, you feel frustrated because it's impractical, it's impossible, it just doesn't make sense. But with Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not thousands, you can go on for tens of thousands times. Why? What's the difference? Because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is nectarian. It is full of nectar. That's the difference. For example, the word mango. What is a mango? Mango is a very, very sweet object. You can eat mango and relish its sweetness, but can you get the same sweetness by saying the word mango? Can you? It's impossible. You cannot feel the sweetness by saying the word mango. You have to take the mango, you have to cut the mango, you have to eat the mango to feel the sweetness. But with Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's different. You can chant Hare Krishna and you can directly feel the sweetness. You can feel the nectar in the mantra. That's the power of the mantra. That's the basic understanding. We can. That's how we understand there is power, in the spiritual practices related to Krishna. Okay. Now, let's go back to the verse here. So we try to understand. The main keyword that Arjuna is trying to do, because he's saying, I am surrendered unto you. That's the position of Arjuna. We need to understand where is Arjuna situated, because we know that Arjuna here is an example of a very prime, top-notch student. What is the best quality of a student? Can anyone say? Yes, Paul? Okay.
To always ask many questions.
Exactly. To always keep on asking. That's the primary quality of a student. That is very, very inquisitive. And he's keeping, like he keeps on asking questions. That's how the professor understands the difference between a very keen, bright student and a very dull student. That's how the professor knows which student in the class is the brightest, because the student who is asking the most questions, it doesn't have to be difficult ones, it just has to be even simple ones, but he's asking questions and he's showing eagerness, this hunger to know more and more. That's how you know he's a very good student. And that's what Arjuna is. He's displaying the qualities of a very top-notch student. And we, as practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, we should be the same. We should open our minds, we should open our intelligence, and we should ask questions. We should ask questions about life. This is what it's all about. This is what human life is about. It's for intellectuals. It's there to ask questions. This is what the Vedic scriptures say. They order us to ask questions. One of the very few, important phrases in the Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. What does that mean? It means ask, inquire. The Sanskrit word jigyasa, it means to inquire, be inquisitive, ask questions, ask who I am, what is my purpose, what am I doing here? All of these basic fundamental questions, these are the questions which you should be asking. And this is what Arjuna is doing. He's asking questions after questions to Krishna. And Krishna is the source of all knowledge. He is Yogeshwara. He gives all of this transcendental knowledge to Arjuna because he's asking so submissively. And then we try to understand, the theology of, Arjuna. Sorry, the psychology of Arjuna here. So Arjuna is not just saying, "Oh, Krishna, please tell me about your opulences." Arjuna is saying, "Tell me about your opulences in great detail." Because Arjuna knows that Krishna is infinite. Krishna's glories are infinite. Krishna's opulences are infinite because he's God. Everything that you have to know about Krishna is infinite. That's the reason you cannot never understand Krishna, because you cannot never understand infinity. That's how we again come back to, this correlation between God and infinity. Like, we can try to understand, or we can try to at least grasp this concept of God by trying to understand the concept of infinity. What is infinity? Infinity is something that's never ending. You can have an infinite, series of numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's never ending. There is zero in between, and there is positives, which is never ending, and there is negatives, which is never ending. So you can understand infinity by the application of numbers. And at the same time, you can understand infinity by the application of God. Because if something as infinity is so mesmerizing, and so, you cannot try to grasp this concept, then imagine what is God, which is full of all of these opulences. So Krishna's opulences are infinite. Krishna's qualities are infinite. That's why we try to understand Krishna through love and devotion and surrender, not by, our philosophical mundane understanding. We can never achieve that. We can never do that. We can never compute that in our tiny little brains. The creator who has created this whole material and spiritual universes, it's impossible to understand the actions of that person, that ultimate supreme person who is God. It's impossible to understand the actions of him with our tiny little brains. So what's the solution? The only solution is to deep dive in surrender and devotion. So the conclusion here is that, the dialogue, this dialogue of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 18, is that it offers a profound corrective to the techno-optimism and existential fatigue of the 21st century. It gives us an understanding that everything in this world is temporary, and everything in this world is, because it is temporary, it is mundane. And we, as beings in this material world, we cannot grasp or understand something as spiritual and pure as God. It's like trying to run after infinity, trying to catch infinity. You can never catch infinity, because if you try to limit infinity to, let's say 100 trillion numbers, but even 100 trillion numbers is a finite number. Infinity is something infinite. You can never reach infinity. You can never reach it. You can run and run and run and run. You will keep on running for whole of your life, forever. That's how is the opulence of God. That's how is the position of God. He is infinite. And that's how we understand it's totally impossible to understand, because it's totally impossible to even understand something as big as infinity and trying to catch infinity. You can never do it. It's a completely off topic. So as humanity, we're trying to, trying our best to create, all of these super intelligent systems. Like I myself, I'm studying artificial intelligence in the university, and we're all engaged in this big rat race to create this super intelligent system, this artificial super intelligence, which is able to compute thousands and trillions of data at the same time. And we're creating all of these complex mechanisms, but at the end of the day, they're all man-made. And at the end of the day, they can never replicate infinity, because infinity is something which is only possessed by God. Infinity is something which is in an opulence of God. Infinity is something that can never be achieved by us humans, because it's just impossible. Because we ourselves are limited. Our time here in this world is limited. Our resources are limited. We're getting all of our resources from this planet Earth. And we're trying to compete with someone who has created this earth. Forget about this earth. He has created this universe, in which this earth is just a fragment of this universe. It's so crazy if you try to understand the position of God and the position of us humans. It's crazy. There's a huge, even the word huge is a very, like an understatement. There is no words to describe the position of God, the opulence, the power, the qualities of God. There's no way, there is no process apart from to just surrender. To just surrender and have this intellectual capability to ask questions. Ask meaningful, fundamental questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? So, with this thought, let's conclude our dialogue here, conclude the lecture. So I'd like to ask you if you have any questions or comments that you want to make. Please go on. Any questions or comments anyone would like to make? Paul? Any comments that you'd like to make?
That's a good point. You brought it back with this infinite. This is one thing that we can always try to chase.
Yeah.
And like with questions, it's the small spark of a dot, a little point of a dot. It's the soul in us.
Yes.
And it's a gift from Krishna that we can be alive, that we have this conscious mind.
Yeah, because we are the soul.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And
exactly.
the more we go to Krishna,
Yeah.
the more we feel home.
Yeah, and if I ask you, what is the best example to prove the existence of soul, or as in like we are the soul and we're not this body? What's the biggest example that you can think of, or the biggest understanding?
The moments when everything is one, so you're not separated.
Exactly. So for example, if you see, for example, there's a very old person, and he's about to die any moment, and the old person is on his deathbed. He's about to die, and after a few hours, unfortunately, or say traumatically, the person dies after a few hours. So what changed? 1 p.m. the person, he was alive, he was still breathing. 3 p.m. the person is not breathing anymore. So what's the difference between the 1 p.m. person and the 3 p.m. person? The body is there. The body is just there. What's the difference? What happened in those 2 hours? What happened that the body was breathing, and after 2 hours the body is not breathing anymore? What's the biggest change? What happened? What's the reason? Because there was someone inside the body 2 hours before, and that's why the body was breathing. But now the person or that someone or something is gone. Now after 2 hours, the body is not breathing anymore because there's no such person inside the body anymore. So who is that person? This is what Bhagavad Gita tells us. This is what Bhagavad Gita tells us, that exact person who was there inside the body, which is keeping the body alive, is the soul. That is the soul. This is how we understand the existence of soul. And this is what Bhagavad Gita is trying to teach us, trying to tell us, that the soul is actually us. We say my body, we say my hands, we say my eyes, we say my head. We don't say I body. We don't say I eyes. We don't say I hands. We say my or mine. So who is this me? You see? This is how we understand that we are different from this body. And this is what Bhagavad Gita tells us. This is what is the basic summary or understanding of the yogas, that we pass through different stages of yoga and ultimately reach Bhakti Yoga, which is the topmost form of yoga. Bhakti Yoga, or devotional service. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other questions, comments? Like to make any comment, Prabhu? Okay. Okay, so we'll stop here. Granth Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.